Hi everybody, it's Krista here from Funky Junk Inspiration. How are you doing this fine Friday? This is our Friday playlist for Take 5, and my co-host is Jeanie from Jeanie's Palette. Make sure you check her out, and then check out everybody else that's in the playlist, and make sure you give them a subscribe, and hit that thumbs up, and give a comment, all that kind of fun and exciting stuff. And don't forget the bell if you like what you see. Okay, here's what we're going to do today. I have this board right here. It had something on it and I sanded it off at some point. And we're going to do this stencil right here from Essential Stencil. It's a Welcome Dragonfly door hanger, but I'm going to put it on a 12 by 12 piece of wood. I think that's going to be kind of cool looking. Okay, this is a layered stencil. And if you notice from Essential Stencil, it'll say layer 1 in the corner. It tells you each layer. That's layer 3. I know it's hard to see on this on the video, but that's layer 2. 1, 2, and 3. So that's how you put them down. And these fancy little those are your little marks so that you can lay it down and it lines everything up. Also, if you did it on a round, right here is a line to line it up with your 12-inch round. So let's just get started, you guys. Now, you guys are going to say, what are you going to do with that? I'm leaving this like this. I like that distressed look. I think it's going to be kind of cool with this particular project. I could stain it or repaint it, but we're going to just leave it alone. Now, if you notice, when I have all of my, let's just take 2 of them. But when I have, I'm going to have to do it like this so I don't get them out of order. When I have them all like this on here, they kind of fit, but to get everything on, I need to slide it up just a little bit, okay? So when I do the welcome, we're going to start with it right about here. See, I'm up off the board just a little bit. Now I am going to go ahead and take my pencil and I'm going to very lightly mark my, if I had a pencil that would write, that would be great. I'm going to go ahead and mark my little hash marks here that we're going to be using. I'm not going to do it real dark. I'm just kind of doing it just faintly on there. It's for me to see, and I'm doing it with pencil. I can erase it when I'm done. Now, another good thing is when you're stenciling is to go ahead and tape your project down. A lot of times I don't use tape, but we're going to today. Okay, so let's get started. Now up here, I'm just going to kind of follow the directions. They give you directions on the back of your, stencil, and it kind of gives you an idea of how you want to do things. So we're just going to kind of go along those lines a little bit. Now, first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to get me out a paper plate right here to put my paint on, and I'm going to go ahead and get me a paper towel to make sure that I don't have too much paint on my paintbrush. Now, you guys, I've got to grab some stencil brushes right here because I didn't grab any, like a big ding-dong. Now, I'm going to use Apple Barrel Brown Oxide for the brown on here. I think that'll show up real well. Looks like that paint's getting a little thick. Now, this is way too much paint on your paintbrush. Dip it in your paint, kind of wipe it off like that, and then start working in a circular motion. You want to get that paint up in your brush, not on the end of your brush, okay? I usually do it a couple times like that, all right? And then because I'm using Apple Barrel and it's a thinner paint, I definitely want to get a paper towel out, and I kind of want to hit my brush with that so that if I have a blob of paint on here, I don't immediately go to my project with that. Now you're going to say, and a lot of people do say that, yeah, but when you do that, it, you don't have as much paint on your brush. You'll have plenty of paint on your brush, I promise. You have more on here than you think you do. So I'm just going to go over, this is going to be kind of like the outline of the dragonflies. So we're going to go over those with brown right here. Okay. Now, does it need to be like every single little spot done? No, I don't make a big deal about that because I do like my projects to be a little bit rustic, look used, however you want to say it. But you can make sure that you hit every single little spot and every single little corner. And, you do you on these projects. That's why I love stencils. I love doing stencils. My favorite part of stenciling is doing the background. And under normal circumstances, I would have done a really colorful background on this probably. But I wasn't real sure how all the colors would look with the pond, you know, I don't know. Today I was kind of feeling like this, you know. Do what you want to do, right? Don't sweat the small stuff, as they say. Right on, right on. Okay, so now we've got the welcome done. Isn't that cool? That looks awesome. Now, always remember that sometimes there is more paint on here than what you realize. Now, see how it looks a little faded there? But when I lift this up, it looks fine. It looks great. Okay, so now what we're going to do is I need to move my tape because we're going to do all of this blue down here. Okay, now see how because I would normally have it be a round right there, there may be a possibility that I need to adjust that a little bit. I'm just going to stick my tape right there just to kind of, oops, let's just move it. That's why you want to tape it down. You don't want to move it. I'm just going to, well, let's just stick it right here. Just to kind of help hold it just a little bit. It's not going to hold it great because that paint's still a little bit wet, but it's going to hold it a little bit. Now let's go in with our blue for our pond down here. Now I think I'm going to use a light blue, and it's called light blue. Now this is a gloss paint. I don't normally use gloss paints, but I like this color and I have it, so that's what we're going to do. Okay. So again, I'm going to get paint on here. I'm going to work it up into my bristles. Just like that. Now this paint is super duper thin, so I want to be very, very careful with it. See, there was still a lot of paint on my brush right there. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and do my polka dots and see if this is the color that I want. Is it going to show up on my board? Let's look. Yeah, it doesn't show up too bad, but I kind of think I'm going to go with a little bit darker. I think I would like a little bit darker. So let's use this French blue. Let's make sure we get it shook up real good. Yeah, I think that's going to be a better blue. See how it's a little darker like that? Now this French blue is also an acrylic paint. It's a folk art, but it's a little bit thicker, which is good. Okay, so we're just going to go back over the top of those. Yeah, I like that. That's kind of, looks like that's going to stand out just a little bit more than the other did. What, there wasn't a dot under that, was there? No. Okay, so now we have this down here to do. I have this big, huge area. Here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to go right along here with my stencil brush to get my edge right there. Okay, and then we're going to whip out the fancy paintbrush and we are going to just paint the rest of that because there's no reason to try to stencil that along there. It'll take us forever. So I'm just going to get some paint on here. And we're just going to get this painted blue down here. Now, I will tell you this. Whenever you're using a paintbrush and your stencil brush, you kind of got to blend them together a little bit, or you'll have a little bit of a different textured look, even sometimes a little bit of a different color. And it's mainly an illusion, but just to make sure. Now, see right here, I'm going to kind of blend that like that right there. We'll see what it looks like when we get it off. We may want to do a little bit more painting and stuff like that. So we're just going to hit this real quick. Let me get some little bit more paint on my palette here. Now, look at this palette already. We've basically done 2 colors and I have paint everywhere. I tend to just spread out what I'm doing. And then I've seen a lot of my fellow stencilers and my fellow friends, and they can use a palette multiple times because they don't get all excited like I do. I don't know. I think I just get excited and just, you know, with the paintbrush. Anyway, you guys, this is a Take 5 collaboration. Appreciate y'all being here. We do I said you guys. We do playlists every other Friday, which is awesome. And we have some amazing fun people that join us. We usually have different people each week. So make sure you check us out and check out everything that's going on with us on that. Now I'm going to take my dryer and I'm just going to kind of go over this a little bit. I did it kind of thin, so it should be dry. Where I stenciled will be dry. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and pull that off. Okay, now see how that's kind of a fine line and it's kind of blurred right there? We're going to fix that. I don't like how that looks, so we're going to fix it here in just a second. I'm going to set my stencil right over here out of the way. Now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take my brush right here. And we're just going to kind of make our own line here. You see what I mean? I'm just going to have it go up a little bit like that. Right there. And then when that dries, nobody will even notice, except for you and me, that it was a little bit different, that I didn't use the stencil right there. Nobody will notice that. Okay? Looks good. Now see how it's kind of thin there? I like that. It doesn't bother me in the least bit whatsoever. So I'm going to run over it real quick with the dryer just one more time. Next thing we're going to do is we're going to put on layer 2. Okay, I'm going to look right up here. Now I'll show you something that a lot of times I do with my stencils, especially when my stencils are directional letters mainly. Letters can be a little bit tricky. You'll get to going and sometimes you'll put one backwards or something like that. So what I do a lot of times is I will take my stencils and I will get the direction that they need to be. Okay, see how that says layer 2 there? I mean, that's what I could look at. But a lot of times I'll just put a T in the upper right-hand corner. I always do the upper right-hand corner. And then that is nice and bright. It doesn't come off unless I scrub it off. And if it does get a little bit faint, I will just, redo it so that I just lost the lid to my Sharpie, and it's my best Sharpie. I dropped it on the ground. There it is. I have a rug on my floor that is very colorful. Sometimes you can't see things. Okay, so now, remember our little plus signs here? Our little direction signs. Okay, see, I'm going to just line that right up there on those, and voila, boom, bam, we're ready to rock and roll. Again, here, I'm going to have to run these down a little bit farther, but we will take care of that. That isn't a big deal. I need to do those brown. So where did our brown stencil brush go? It's right here. Okay. So again, I'm just going to offload a little bit. Now, if you're going to stencil a lot of things and use a lot of different colors, one of the things that's kind of smart to do is to get you a little damp, and I mean damp, not wet, paper towel, and lay it out here so that you can wrap your stencil brush so that it doesn't dry out on you, because they will dry out pretty quickly. Now see how I can see that blue under there? What I could have done is sanded that first and then went over it with the brown, just sanded it just a little bit, or I can just put another layer on. So we'll probably just put another coat on and see what that looks like. If it still looks like it's got that little edge there where the blue is, what I will do is I will sand it and take care of it from there. Okay? Okay, so both there and there. Okay, I'm going to dry that real quick. Now, you got to be careful when you're drying your stencils because you don't want to melt your stencil. I mean, this is very thick stencils, but you don't want to mess it up and make it a little, melt it a little bit, warp it a little bit, or however you want to say that. Okay, let's try this again and see what this looks like. See if we got it. Yeah, much better, much better, much better. Maybe one more layer might be a good thing to do. Okay. I'm going to kind of go over that. Right there, because when you do stencil, it does, see, that looks okay when I lift it up. So I'm not going to worry about it and make a big deal about it. We may go back over it again here in a second. Okay, so now what we need to do is we need to do that dragonfly and that dragonfly. Now this one we're going to do the blue, so I'm going to grab the blue right here, the same blue that we were using. Okay, and we're going to go right over there, and this is just going to make his little wings blue. Okay, just like that. Now the other color that I'm going to use is pink, and I think I'm going to use this nice and dragon fruit pink. It's kind of a little bit of a hot pink, I guess you could call it, and use it for the other. See, I'm running out of space to offload because I go a little crazy when I offload. That's okay, we'll fix it. So anyway, there we go. Look at that. Look at that. Now we have all of these down here to do. Okay, let's do this in the pink also. Let's do all this in the pink, and then we'll do that kind of, I don't know, I'm kind of thinking maybe it might add a little bit of, I I don't know. What do you guys think? These are more of like their flowers right here. Is that right? Yeah, let's go over these. I'm looking at the picture because I don't want it to end up looking weird, right? We want it to make sense when we do it. Right here, I want to just make sure that this is what this is, because that's going to be a flower on a lily pad. Let me show you. Okay, see that? They did all those pink right there. Okay. All right, there's nothing wrong with looking at the picture to do your stuff, so use what you got. Now, I will tell you this about Essential Stencils. I am an ambassador for Essential Stencil, and I do have a discount code that you can use. It is Funky Junk, all one word. You put that in at checkout, and you will save 10% off of whatever you order. If you order a bundle, if you order, you know, single stencils or whatever. And there are a lot of amazing stencils over there on Essential Stencil. I think you definitely will find something that you like over there if you go check them out. So, but that using that discount code helps me out a little bit, and it saves you some money. Now we're going to need to run those down a little bit. Okay, so I'm going to sit that put that stencil down here out of the way. I'm going to go ahead and grab a little baby brush right here like that, and we're just going to kind of run those down. Again, does it need to be perfect? No. Just so that when you look at it, you can tell that they went to the bottom of the pond or the river, or I guess mostly frogs like this, or I guess lily pads and stuff like this would be on ponds mainly. Okay, so look at that, what we've got so far. You really can't see that the colors there real well in this lighting, but I bet you can on camera. I bet it looks amazing. And I like the wood background, the way that that looks. I just think that adds a little something to that. And I definitely, what I will do is I will clear coat this when I'm all done, so it's not going to be a big deal. So let's look at our picture here. So now this right here, we need to add some greens. Okay. Again, I'm looking at my T. I'm going to line up my little crosshairs right there. Okay, so now everything should line up. Now when you do that, always look, because sometimes it might appear to be a little bit off, a little bit different, and you want to just make sure that you got it real good. Okay, so on here, it looks like we use a light green, all right, and then a darker green on top of that. Now see, look at that. That painted that all pink. But then over here, it's green. So let's put this one back. Let's put this one back on here. And I should have looked a little bit farther. It looks like they may have printed that a little bit off. But that's okay. Not a big deal. We can fix it. We can definitely fix it. Okay? So right here, I'm going to grab some of this. I'm going to grab the dark green right here. Because we've already painted it pink. That way it'll cover it. All right, so now I'm gonna offload on my little rag right here, just like that. Make sure that we're straight. I'm gonna go over these right here, and then this guy here. Now what I like to do is I will take the, these come inside your stencil packs. They're just a piece of cardstock, and I will use it to block off what I don't want to stencil. Now, you do not have to do it this way. You can take tape and tape it off if you're worried, or if it's a little easier. I do both methods because it just depends on the stencil. Sometimes I can't get the card in there exactly correct, okay? So now let's look at our picture again, just to make sure that we have what we want to have. Okay, even these down here, they painted the green color. They just kind of boogered that up a little bit, but that's okay. Not a biggie. Do you see what I mean? I mean, sometimes things happen. See that they painted all that pink. When you look at it over here, it should have been, these things should have been light green. But we're going to do it the opposite. We're going to do it dark green and then light green on top. So it's not a big deal. It's going to look a little different anyway because it's going to be a little bit different color because it has that pink background. But I think that's it. I think that's what we need right there. Nope, let's get this one here. Goodness sakes, you guys. I'm having a day. I'm having a day. Anyway, I do appreciate you guys all being here. And make sure you grab that link up there in the description and go check everybody out. Okay, let's try that again. All right, so there we go. Now see, that looks a little bit pinky under there, but I'm okay with that because I'm telling you, people won't notice things like that once you get all your outlines and everything on. So I'm going to dry this real quick right here like this. I think this is such a cute stencil. It's amazing. You know, they make it so easy. You work on your background or whatever, and then you can just stencil the stuff on, and you've got a beautiful piece of home decor, you know? It's amazing to me. Amazing. Okay, so now, let's go. I'm going to go with dark green and do these, the stems on the cattails, the grass growing up here. We're going to go ahead and do the dark green here. Like this, okay? Just like that. Let's get us a little bit more paint. Right there. Boom, ba-dum. Again, I need to use my little card here just so that I don't, because I tend to really get excited when I'm stenciling and I go all over the place. So the best bet is to just kind of cover it up so that you, you know, you don't go over something that you don't want to go over. Okay. Just like that. Now we'll have to extend those down when we get done with that too. And I dropped my paint. Hold on. Yes, I'm doing this a little bit different today. Rather than doing a voiceover, I am just doing a talking as I'm doing it, I guess you could call it. Okay, so let's go with this, and let's get our light pink out, okay, to add a little contrast with the other pink, all right? And that'll give it some layers right there. Okay. So we're going to hit this one right there, and we're going to hit this right up in here in our flowers. Again, I'm going to grab my little card that I don't know where did I put it. It's okay, I have another one. So right like that. Okay, and then let's give this dragonfly's wings the light pink up here. Very pretty. Very, very pretty. Okay, so now I need a lighter green. Okay, so I need a light green. So we're just going to use this regular old Kelly green to go over those, and that'll put a little bit of contrast on those too. Okay, now I'm going to be real fancy here. I'm just going to use the same brush as the dark green. So this will probably darken it up just a little bit, but that's okay. We can do that. It's our project. We do whatever we want to do. Just so it's a little bit lighter so that you can really see, you know, what you're trying to do right here. Just like this. Just like that. Okay. So there we go. So now what do we need to still do? I need to do these right here. Those are, I'm going to look on their drawing or their painting because I'm thinking they need to be like a little bit lighter brown. So let's do that. So I'm going to take my brown, okay, and I'm going to just put a tish, just a little bit of white on my palette right here, okay, and I'm going to pick up the white because I still have lots of brown in my brush. Okay, see that? See how that made it kind of a beigey color right there? And here we go. Just to get, this will give our cattails a little dimension, you know, kind of like what we were doing down below on the lily pad. You guys, we're almost done with this project. Look how fast that went. It was real quick. This is a real-time video, so this is how long it took. Now here, is my dots that we did the dark blue already. They are on there again. What I could do is I could grab some light blue here just to maybe, I don't know, just see what it does. Just kind of go over where it was dark. I'm not going to hit it dark, just kind of hit it just to add a little something, something. So we're going to pull that up. Oh my gosh, look how pretty that looks. Does that not look beautiful or what? Now I'm going to take my little eraser and I'm going to erase my pencil marks. You guys, it's that simple. If this was a solid color paint on there, I could hit it with, you know, my white paint again, but those come off just fine. Now I always like to frame in my projects, and I usually frame in with a darker color. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab navy blue right here and do this real quick and get our ends done right there. And I'm just going to grab the brush, this brush right here that I had the light blue on. Okay, and we're going to hit it with this. And here we go. We're just going to kind of go along these edges. Now, sometimes I'll wait and do the edges till I do my other side of my board. I do enjoy making my boards double-sided because I feel like that just adds, you know, more bang for your buck, let's say, when you're, you know, selling a project or even for just having in your house, because you could flip this over. I usually do my hanger on top. I don't like hook it on the back. I put a little piece of wire here, and then I can use it as a hanger like that. You don't have to hang boards like this up. You could get you a little plate tray and sit it in it. You know, it could be in some sort of display, maybe like under a table and like leaning against the leg of it if you had like a sofa table or something like that on a shelving unit. Whatever, you know, makes you happy. Do it. Don't ever let somebody else dictate what you should do with any of your projects or your home decor. Okay, so now I'm just going to kind of go around here. I like to blend in my stuff. I like to frame in all of my projects. I think that just adds a little bit of a finishing touch to the